the valence bond theory was fairly successful in explaining qualitatively the geometry and magnetic behavior of the complexes. But there are some limitations of valence bond theory. Currently, the bonding in coordination complexes is usually described by crystal field theory. This theory accounts for more satisfactory explanation for the properties of complexes, especially color and magnetism. To understand the limitations of valence bond theory and application of crystal field theory, in last lecture we discussed valence bond theory for coordination compounds and its limitations, crystal field theory, important features of crystal field theory, splitting of d orbitals in octahedral complexes, and splitting of d orbitals in tetragonal and square planar complexes. In continuation to this, today we are going to discuss splitting of d orbitals in tetrahedral complexes, spectrochemical series, the effect of ligand on splitting energy, pairing energy, high spin and low spin complexes, and distribution of d electrons in T2g and Eg orbitals in octahedral complexes. Crystal field theory focuses on the d orbitals of the metal and treats ligands as point negative charges. CFT assumes ionic bonding between the metal and the ligand instead of covalent bonding. The crystal field theory concentrates on the splitting of the d orbitals of the transition metal atom into groups as a result of electrostatic interactions between the ligands and the electron in the unhybridized orbitals of the transition metal atom. Now, we are going to discuss the splitting of d orbitals in tetrahedral complexes. In order to understand the splitting of d orbitals in tetrahedral complexes, it is convenient to picture a tetrahedron placed inside a cube. We may note from this picture that the four negative ligands placed at the four corners of the tetrahedron are located at the four corners of the cube. These four ligands are lying between the three axes. You can see this ligand is between z and y axis, this ligand between x and y axis, and so on. Thus, these four ligands are lying between three axes, that is x, y and z axis, which protrude from the center of the six faces of the cube and thus go through the center of the cube. Now, the lobes of T2g orbitals, that is dxy, dxz and dyz orbitals are lying between the axes, that is they are lying directly in the path of the ligands. Here you can see in dxy orbitals, the lobes are pointing between the x and y axis. In dxz orbitals, the lobes points between x and z axis, and in dyz orbitals, the lobes points between y and z axis. The lobes of Eg orbitals, that is dz square and dx square minus y square, are lying along the axis, that is they are lying in space between the ligands. You can see in dz square, the lobes are lying towards z axis, and dx square minus y square, the lobes are lying towards x and y axis. Now, since the lobes of T2g orbitals, that is dxy, dyz and dxz orbitals are lying between the axes, that is they are lying directly in the path of the ligands, these orbitals will experience a greater force of repulsion from the ligands than those of Eg orbitals, that is dx square minus y square and dz square orbitals, whose lobes are lying along the axis, that is they are lying in space between the ligands. Here you can see the splitting of d orbitals in tetrahedral complexes. In tetrahedral complexes, the energy of dxy, dyz and dxz orbitals increases by 0.4 delta t, and the energy of dx square minus y square and dz square orbitals decreases by minus 0.6 delta t. Here you can also see the value of crystal field energy for octahedral complexes is greater than that of the value of crystal field energy for tetrahedral complexes. The order of splitted orbitals gets reversed in tetrahedral complexes. In octahedral complexes, dxy, dyz and dxz orbitals have lower energy, but in tetrahedral complexes, dxy, dyz and dxz orbitals have higher energy. In octahedral complexes, dx square minus y square and dz square are higher in energy, but in tetrahedral complexes, dx square minus y square and dz square orbitals are lower in energy. Thus, the energy of T2g orbitals will be increased while that of Eg orbitals will be decreased. Consequently, the d orbitals are again split into two sets. The order of energy of T2g and Eg sets is reverse of that seen in octahedral complexes. The energy difference between T2g and Eg sets for tetrahedral complexes is represented by delta T. Here T represents tetrahedral. It has been shown that delta T is less than delta O. The cause of this difference is that the d orbitals, although now closest to the ligands, do not point directly at the ligands. That is, in an octahedral complex, there is a ligand along each axis, and in a tetrahedral complex, no ligand lies directly along any axis. For this reason, and also because there are only 4 ligands in the tetrahedral complex, while in an octahedral complex there are 6 ligands. The tetrahedral orbital splitting delta T is less than delta O for the same metal and ligands and the same internuclear distances. It has been shown that delta T is equal to 0.45 delta O. This relation also shows that, other things being about equal, the crystal field splitting in a tetrahedral complex will be about half the magnitude of that in an octahedral complex. Thus, the energy level of T2g set is raised by 0.4 delta T, which will be equal to 0.4 multiplied by 0.45 delta O, which will be equal to 0.18 delta O, while that of Eg set is lowered by 0.6 delta T, which will be equal to 0.6 multiplied by 0.45 delta O, which is equal to 0.27 delta O. Since delta T is less than delta O, crystal field splitting favors the formation of octahedral complexes. Let us now discuss spectrochemical series. For any given metal cation, the magnitude of crystal field splitting energy depends on the nature of the ligands. The greater the ease with which the ligand can approach the metal ion, the greater will be the crystal field splitting caused by it. The ligands which affect only a small degree of crystal field splitting are termed weak field ligands, while those which affect a large splitting are called strong field ligands. When the ligands are arranged in order of the magnitude of crystal field splitting, the arrangement thus obtained is called spectrochemical series. Here you can have a look on spectrochemical series. These ligands are arranged in increasing order of their field strength. You can see here that I minus, Br minus, S2 minus are weaker ligands, while Cn minus or Co are stronger ligands. From this arrangement, it is clear that ligands before H2O such as I minus, NO3 minus, OH minus etc. are weak field ligands, while the ligands after H2O such as NO2 minus, Cn minus, CO etc. are strong field ligands. Stronger field ligands cause greater crystal field splitting. So, this series shows that the value of delta O in the series also increases in the same order, that is from left to right. The order of the field strength of the common ligands shown in this series in fact are independent of the nature of the central metal ion and the geometry of the complex. Here you can see the effect of ligand on splitting energy. H2O is a weak field ligand, hence the splitting energy is lower, but Cn minus is a strong field ligand, therefore the value of splitting energy is greater. The increase in the value of delta O on proceeding from left to right in the spectrochemical series is quite evident from the values of delta O for some octahedral complexes, which clearly shows that since on proceeding from 6 Br minus to 3 En, the field strength of the ligands increases, the value of delta O also correspondingly increases. When the ligands are arranged in order of the magnitude of crystal field splitting, the arrangement thus obtained is called spectrochemical series. Here you can see the spectrochemical series. The ligands are arranged in increasing order of crystal field splitting energy. I minus, Br minus are weaker ligands and Cn minus, Co are stronger ligands. The ligands before H2O such as I minus, NO3 minus, OH minus etc. are weaker field ligands, while the ligands after H2O such as NO2 minus, Cn minus, CO etc. are stronger field ligands. Stronger field ligands cause greater crystal field splitting. So, the series shows that the value of delta O in the series also increases in the same order, that is from left to right. The order of field strength of common ligands are independent of the nature of the central metal ion and the geometry of the complex. Here you can see the effect of ligand on splitting energy. As H2O is a weak field ligand, the splitting energy is less. But Cn minus is a strong field ligand, hence the splitting energy is larger. The increase in the value of delta O on proceeding from left to right in the spectrochemical series is quite evident from the values of delta O for some octahedral complexes, which clearly shows that since on proceeding from 6 Br minus to 3 ethylene diamine, the field strength of the ligands increases, the value of delta O also increases. You can see in the case of nickel, from Br minus to ethylene diamine, the value of delta O increases from 7000 to 11,500 per centimeter. Similarly, the value for Rh also increases from 19,000 to 34,600 per centimeter. To have an idea of distribution of electrons in octahedral complexes, we must understand the pairing energy. As always, electrons occupy the orbitals in the arrangement that results in the lowest energy. The electron pairing energy P is the expenditure of the energy that is necessary to pair electrons by bringing two negatively charged particles into the same region of the space. We must compare this with the crystal field splitting energy delta O, which is the difference in energy between T2G and EG orbitals. Weak field ligands such as F- cause only small splitting energies, whereas strong field ligands such as Cn- give larger values of delta O. Let us now discuss high spin and low spin complexes. If the splitting energy delta O is smaller than the pairing energy P, the electrons occupy all 5 non-degenerate orbitals singly before pairing. After all d orbitals are half filled, additional electrons then pair with electrons in the T2G set. Such a complex would have the same number of unpaired electrons on the metal atom or ion as when the metal is uncomplexed. This is called a high spin complex. But if the splitting energy is greater than the pairing energy, the electrons will be at lower energy if they pair in the T2G orbital before any electrons occupy the higher energy EG orbitals. Such a complex could have fewer unpaired electrons on the metal atom than when the metal is uncomplexed. So, it is called a low spin complex. This figure shows that not only delta O, which represents the energy difference between T2G and EG sets of orbitals, is smaller in the weaker field complex than in stronger field, but also that both T2G and EG levels of the weak field are correspondingly closer to the level of the degenerate 5d orbitals of the metallic ion than are those of the stronger field. Let us now discuss the distribution of d electrons in T2G and EG orbitals in octahedral complexes. The distribution of d electrons in T2G and EG orbitals takes place on the basis of the nature of the ligands, that is, whether the ligands are weaker or stronger. Thus, two cases arise. The first case is when the ligands are weaker. We have seen that under the influence of weak ligands, the energy difference delta O between T2G and EG sets is relatively small, and hence all the 5 d orbitals of these two sets may be supposed to be degenerate, that is, in presence of weak ligands, all the d orbitals have the same energy and consequently the distribution of the d electrons in T2G and EG sets takes place according to Hund's rule, which states that electrons will pair up only when each of the 5 d orbitals is singly filled. Thus, in weaker field, the first 3 electrons go to T2G level, 4th and 5th go to EG set, 6th, 7th, 8th go to T2G set, and the remaining 2 electrons, that is 9th and 10th, will occupy EG set. This can be shown as first, second and third electron in T2G set, 4th and 5th in EG, then again 6th, 7th and 8th electron in T2G set, and 9th and 10th in EG set of orbitals. As an example, if we consider the octahedral complex COF6 3-, which contains weaker ligand, the distribution of 6 d electrons of cobalt 3+ ion, which is 3d6 in T2G and EG sets, will be T2G4 EG2. The complexes like COF6 3-, which contain weaker ligands, are called weak field or low field complexes. In the formation of such complexes, delta O is less than P, where P is the average or mean pairing energy, which is the energy required to pair two electrons in the same orbital, and delta O is octahedral crystal field splitting energy. Delta O tends to force as many electrons to T2G set, while P tends to prevent the electrons to pair in the T2G level. Now the second case is when the ligands are stronger. In stronger field, the first 6 electrons will go to T2G set and the remaining 4 electrons enter EG set. This can be shown as T2G set will contain the first 6 electrons and EG set will contain the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th electron. Consider the distribution of 6 d electrons of cobalt 3 ion, which is 3d6, in the complex ion CO NH36 3 plus, which contains stronger ligands. Quite obviously, this distribution is T2G6 EG 0. Complexes like CONH3 whole thrice 3 plus, which contain stronger ligands, are called strong field or high field complexes. For these complexes, delta O is greater than P, that is, the crystal field splitting energy for octahedral complexes is greater than the pairing energy. The distribution of various d electrons of the central metal cation in stronger and weaker octahedral ligand field discloses some facts. Whether the ligand field is strong or weak, for D1, D2 and D3 configurations, the electrons go to the lower energy T2G level, which is more stable. Here you can see, for the D1 configuration in stronger field, 1 electron is in T2G set, and for weak field also 1 electron is in T2G set. For D2 configuration also 2 electrons are in T2G set for strong field and 2 electrons are in T2G set for weak field. For D3 also the number of unpaired electrons in T2G set for strong field and weak field are same. For each D4, D5, D6 and D7 configurations, there is a difference in the arrangement of electrons in weak and strong fields. Here you can see, for D4 electronic configuration, in strong field there are 4 electrons in T2G set, that is, the number of unpaired electrons are 2. But for weak field, there are 3 electrons in T2G set and 1 in EG set, and the number of unpaired electrons are 4. For D5 configuration, for strong field, the number of electrons in T2G set is equal to 5 and number of unpaired electrons is 1. But for weak field, number of electrons in T2G set are 3 and number of electrons in EG set are 2. Therefore, the total number of unpaired electrons is equal to 5. For D6 configuration, in strong field, 6 electrons go in T2G set. Therefore, number of unpaired electrons is equal to 0. But for weak field, the number of electrons in T2G set is equal to 4 and the number of electrons in EG set is equal to 2 and the number of unpaired electrons thus is equal to 4. For D7 electronic configuration, for strong field, number of T2G electrons is equal to 6 and number of EG electrons is equal to 1. Number of unpaired electrons is also equal to 1. For weak field, number of electrons in T2G set is equal to 5 and number of electrons in Eg set is equal to 2. Therefore, number of unpaired electrons is equal to 3. This can be shown with the help of this picture that for electronic configuration D4, D5, D6 and D7, the distribution of d electrons in stronger field and weak field is different in T2g and Eg sets of orbitals, and therefore, the number of unpaired electrons is also different for strong field and weak field ligands. For D8, D9 and D10 configurations, the first 6 electrons go to T2g level and the remaining 2 electrons in case of D8 ion, 3 electrons in case of D9 ion and 4 electrons in case of D10 ion occupy the Eg level. Here you can see for D8 configuration, for strong field the electronic configuration is T2g6 Eg2. For weak field also the electronic configuration is T2g6 Eg2. Therefore, the unpaired electrons in both the cases are equal to 2. For D9 configuration, for stronger field, the electronic configuration is T2g6 Eg3. For weaker field also, the electronic configuration is T2g6 Eg3, and the number of unpaired electrons in both the cases is equal to 1. For D10 configuration, for stronger field, electronic configuration is T2g6 Eg4, and for weaker field, the electronic configuration is T2g6 Eg4. Therefore, the electronic configuration for stronger field and weaker field are same and no unpaired electrons are there in both the cases. Thus, the distribution of electrons of D1, D2, D3, D8, D9 and D10 configurations in T2g and Eg levels for both strong and weak octahedral ligand fields is the same. Let us now discuss the number of unpaired electrons in high spin and low spin complexes. Weak field complexes of D4, D5, D6 and D7 ions have greater number of unpaired electrons than those of strong field complexes and are thus with a higher value of resultant spin. It is for this reason that the weak field and strong field complexes are also called spin free or high spin and spin paired or low spin complexes respectively. High spin complexes are abbreviated as HS and low spin complexes are abbreviated as LS. The number of unpaired electrons, that is the value of resultant spin in the cases namely D1, D2, D3, D8, D9 and D10 is the same in both the fields, and it is due to this reason that for these configurations the question of the formation of high spin and low spin complexes does not arise. The question does arise for the systems D4, D5, D6 and D7 only. The paramagnetism of high spin complexes is larger than that of low spin complexes because high spin complexes have more unpaired electrons, that is larger value of spin, than the low spin complexes which have the smaller value of total spin. In this table, the value of P in per centimeter of the central metal ion of the corresponding complex determined from spectroscopic data and that of delta O also in per centimeter for the complexes are listed. You can note that for D4 complex CrH2O6 2 plus, the value of delta O is less than P. Here you can see delta O is less than P. Therefore, crystal field theory predicts that high spin complex must be formed, and it is also experimentally observed that high spin complex is formed. For D5 configuration, for FeH2O6 3+, we can see that delta O is less than P. Here also CFT predicts a high spin complex, and experimental facts also says that high spin complex is formed. For D6 configuration, if we take the example of FeCN6 4-, we see that delta O is greater than P. Therefore, CFT states that low spin complex must be formed here, and experimental facts also shows that this complex is a low spin complex. For D7 configuration, for the complex COH2O6 2+, the value of delta O is less than P. Therefore, according to CFT, high spin complex must be formed. Experimentally, it is found that COH2O6 2+ is a high spin complex. From this table, it may be seen that spin state of the complexes predicted by CFT is the same as that observed experimentally. In every case where delta O is less than P, a high spin complex is formed, and in case delta O is greater than P, a low spin complex is formed. This discussion shows that crystal field theory can be used to predict the magnetic properties of the complexes. In the end of this lecture, let us revise what we have discussed today. Today, we talked about splitting of d orbitals in tetrahedral complexes, spectrochemical series, the effect of ligand on splitting energy, pairing energy, high spin and low spin complexes, and distribution of d electrons in T2g and Eg orbitals in octahedral complexes. In continuation, in next lecture, we will discuss the calculation of crystal field stabilization energy in complexes and distribution of d electrons in T2g and Eg orbitals in tetrahedral complexes.